Welcome to the Millennial Life Coaches Podcast. At MLC, our mission is simple: add value to help you take on massive action towards your life goals. Here, we feature amazing coaches from all over the world, share compelling stories, and discuss proven practices to help keep your energy high and in the flow. Learn more about MLC at millenniallifecoaches.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Get Ahead by Millennial Life Coaches. I am one of your hosts, Lorna Taylor, and I am joined by health and wellness expert Katie Ruffino. Thank you so much for joining us, Katie. I know we've literally just met and we've just banged our heads together to get this conversation going, but would you like to introduce yourself and your business and what you do to us?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and share a bit about what I do with your listeners. So, I, man, where to start? I'm a multi-passionate, multi-driven person. So I'll go back to the beginning. So I am originally trained as a physician assistant or physician associate. I know they don't have those in Europe, but in America, it's basically like a doctor. You can prescribe, treat, diagnose, and do procedures and things like that
Mhm.
for physical health. And so I started off getting trained in that, in more of the Western medicine model. As I went through school, I was realizing that there's so much more to healing than just the physical. And so on the side, I would do trainings in nutrition, understanding root cause healing, what's actually contributing to symptoms, not just putting band-aids on the symptoms like that's the solution. And so kind of dug deeper, continued to learn about mindset as well and energy. And so
Mhm.
as through my trainings, just as a PA, but then also recently studied to be a Master Practitioner of NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So that is where the mindset piece really comes into play and reprogramming the subconscious mind, which I can get into more deeper later. But basically, I wanted to understand what did it mean to actually have a healthy life. And not just to feel physically healthy, but also to enjoy the life that you have.
Mhm.
So everybody's so unique. Everybody's got their talents, their gifts, and how do we tap into those gifts on a deeper level and then allow ourselves to be confident in sharing that and really embodying the person that we're meant to be and contributing to the world in a meaningful way and really enjoying that and feeling like you're living a fulfilled life. So, through all my studies and explorations, I've really dove deep into what that means, not just for myself, but then also helping others to do the same. And so, I do a variety of coaching now. I do one-on-one and group coaching, whether that's doing detox programs like a mind, body, spirit cleanse, or hosting retreats in an in-person setting where you're getting to connect with nature and yourself out of your typical environment. Or, yeah, doing a bunch of different things. I
Mhm.
also have a cooking show. It's called Katie in the Kitchen. It's
Right.
a
This,
cooking interview series.
so Katie, when I had a little search for you, and as I do with everyone that I have a conversation with, like find out a little bit about them, what can the conversation be about? What can the discussion be about? I
Mhm.
found loads about your food blog and your kitchen series and your food journey in general, I guess. So
Mhm.
I'd love to ask you a bit more about how that all started and like
Yeah.
the kind of content creation side of it.
Yes. So a bit about my story of how I even got into health and wellness was that my grandfather was a doctor. He was a DO, so doctor of osteopathic medicine, and he was always a great mentor for me when I was young. I was always fascinated by the human body. How does it work? What's going on inside of me? And what happens when somebody gets sick and how do they get better? And so he really nurtured my curiosity. And it wasn't until I started to feel sick myself, getting tired and having headaches and trouble focusing in school when I was in high school, that I started to look deeper into my own health. And one year for Lent, I decided to give up processed foods. Just, just it's something about that. I just had the idea one day. And
Mhm.
I wondered if maybe that would contribute to how I was feeling. And at the time, I was playing a lot of sports and, in school. So I wanted to optimize how I could perform and show up in both of those settings. Once I started to eliminate the processed foods, I was eating things like Cheez-Its, cereal, goldfish, pretzels as like snacks that aren't that nourishing.
Mhm.
And I switched that to eating things like fruit and nuts and vegetables and different things like that and drinking more water. That alone completely shifted how I felt.
Mhm.
And I noticed how much that impacted how I showed up in school. I was able to focus better. I got better grades. I was performing better in my sports. I was, ranking up higher in my team. And I was like, wow, there's really something to this. And I thought, okay, if I'm in this for the long haul, I got to learn how to cook because that is a key part in not just for my health, but I want to be a mom someday and I want to be able to cook for my family and how do I have fun doing it? So, to get inspired for ingredients and recipes, I was looking on Pinterest and Instagram and all these social media platforms, cookbooks, watching the Food Network, like how do I eat healthy? And I started to let my creative, artistic side run wild and decided to have fun with the food I was making. And I thought, why not document it and share it with other people? Because I'm not the only one who is going through this and understanding how food can be medicine and to not just cook to eat a healthy meal, but to actually enjoy the process of cooking and realizing how it can be an art form. It can be a way to express yourself and connect deeper to life. And so my senior year of high school decided to start my Instagram blog and it was supposed to just be a way that I could share fun recipes and inspire people to eat healthier. And over the years, it just continued to evolve. Once I was in PA school, I started learning more about physical health and taking nutrition courses on the side, starting to infuse the knowledge I was developing and gaining around food actually being medicine and wanting to educate people about the nutrients that they're consuming and how that food affects their physical body and their mind and their spirit, their gut, nervous system and all of that. And then it evolved into that. Then, as I started working as a PA and moved to Florida from Wisconsin, where I was studying, I I started to grow and evolve in a completely different way. It wasn't just about food anymore. It was about personal development in its totality. So then my food blog, Instagram, started to shift into this personal development journey and sharing life lessons, sharing, wisdom that I had picked up through my own lived experiences. And when I think it was 2023, so fall of 2023 is when I wanted to take that to the next level. And I hired my friend who is very successful at content creation, and she gave me her best tips and tricks on how to create a video series. And so we worked, and I wanted to create a video series called Katie in the Kitchen, where I'd go and interview people and not just talk about food and cooking a healthy meal but also sharing that person's story that I'm interviewing. And like I said before, we all have our own unique gifts and lessons that we've learned and things we can share with the world. And I wanted to showcase that there's so many different ways to do that and to inspire other people to also get in touch with their gifts.
Mhm.
And so it started off as a series where I would go to the grocery store and I'd go up to someone with this mic, or no, I didn't even have a mic at the time. And I was like, hey, what are you cooking today? And they're like, oh, I don't know, or I'm gonna make pesto or something, or chicken. And I would say, do you want help? Or, do you want to cook a meal with me or something like that? And they'd say, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And so we'd run around the grocery store getting all the ingredients, and then we'd go to either my apartment or their home, and we'd cook the recipe together. And I'd get to have a conversation with them, understand their connection with food and what that means to them, and then share their authentic story too, and how they've navigated life. So it's continued to evolve over the years. It's now been 2 years since I started that series, and I'm about to launch season two, which is exciting. And it'll be more focused on coming back to your roots. I'll just give that hint.
It's such a great concept, and I feel like I have seen similar things pop up in the kind of like interviewee space.
Yeah.
But it's great that it kind of really came organically from your own health journey and your own discovery of food and moving from Instagram to more YouTube-based TV series style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of went and watched a few things and looked a few things up to find out a bit more about you, and it looks really great. Who
Thanks.
have you been like who've been your best conversations, or who have you had on
Mm,
that you've thought, oh, that was a really great story that we uncovered there?
yeah. It's a great question because all of the stories are so unique. And when I first started it, I was trying to compress this interview into a short 3 to 5 minute Instagram reel. So I didn't have that much time to really develop somebody's story, but I did the best I could to get the little nuggets of wisdom.
Mm.
And then when I switched to YouTube style, more long form, horizontal filmed, then I was able to develop the stories. I would say, hmm. Three come to mind. So one of them is her name's Hilda, Holistic Hilda. So she is the podcast host for the Weston A. Price podcast. And I was at a biohacking mastermind in Florida with some other people in the wellness space. And I wanted to do an episode highlighting one of the people there that were attending. And she volunteered, and we had a great conversation talking about coming back to ancient traditions of how we're supposed to live a life and support our health. So I think there were a lot of really great nuggets of information and health advice in that. I also loved talking to Ben Azadi. Shout out to Ben. He just reached 1 million, yeah, YouTube subscribers for his channel.
Wow.
And such a bright soul. He works so hard and he's been at this for years, really focusing on helping people to reverse diabetes through metabolic freedom.
Mm.
And getting to connect with him was a real treat for me because he's such an inspiration in so many ways. And him and his girlfriend, or actually now fiance, are incredible people. And I actually just saw them at True Food Kitchen in Tampa. And we had no idea that we would both be there at the same time, and I hadn't seen him in a bit. So that was really fun. So loved his story that he shared and just understanding about keto and metabolic health. And then the third one was it wasn't a recipe, but I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, in between retreats, and I decided to go to Kierland, which is a kind of like a town square development. They have shops and things like that in Scottsdale, North Scottsdale. And I'd been there when I was a kid. My grandparents used to have a house there, and we'd go there for holiday breaks and things like that when I was a kid. And one time, I think it was 2008, I was there with my family and I was obsessed with Hannah Montana. And I just had to like look like her, embody her, be like her. I wanted to be that pop star. Like it was just my dream when I was a kid. And I went to Club Libby Lou, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's basically a place you go as a young kid. You can get dressed up, and they can do your hair, and you can wear a wig, or they'll do your makeup. So it's really fun. So they had a theme for Hannah Montana because her show is big at that point, and I was dressed up as Hannah Montana. And I'm arm in arm with my family, and we're walking down the streets of this little town. And there was this studio that was an art gallery for a rock star. It was called Rockstar Gallery, and they had all these records and famous musicians on the wall. And I guess I walked in there, I'm dressed up as a musician, pop star, and I meet the owner and we take a picture together. So that was one of those core memories for me. Fast forward to this past year, I went back and I walk across, like I walk down the street and I see this art gallery. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the place that I went to when I was a kid. I just totally remembered that right now. And I went in there to see if the guy who I met, the owner, was still there. And sure enough, he was. And he looked the exact same. I mean, aged a couple years, but pretty much the same. And he just ever so slightly remembered me. And the more I told him about the story, the memories flooded back. So getting to reconnect with him now as an adult and hear how he started his company as an entrepreneur who had a dream and how he went for it despite all odds of people saying, oh, it's never going to work out. You know, a common success story you hear from a lot of entrepreneurs who have a dream and a vision and something on their heart to want to make a difference or create an experience for people. And he went for it. And so it was great to hear that story at a time that I might have needed a little bit of encouragement too as a relatively young entrepreneur. And so that story was it was meaningful. And while we didn't cook, we were cooking it up in the conversation side. So yeah,
Like a
that was
little
fun.
trip down memory lane between the two of you.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is
yeah, definitely.
so if anyone was interested in, you know, going back like I did through all the videos that you've done, they can find you
Mhm.
on YouTube. What would be the best place
Yes.
to search?
Yep.
Like,
YouTube would be the best place. Right. I tend to switch up the at just as I continue to evolve the channel. But right now it's called Katie in the Kitchen by Sunnyside KT. And so I'm sure we can link it in the
yeah, we'll
description.
link it below the video and below the
Yeah.
podcast and stuff, so
Mhm.
that people can come check it out. Because I was looking at all the food and I was looking at all the
Yeah.
conversations. I was like, this is amazing.
Thank you. What was your favorite?
I saw a lot of pancake pictures and I thought, I bet Katie's got a really good recipe for like super healthy but super yummy pancakes. Tell me
hmm
you must do.
Definitely. Yeah, gosh, I'm trying to think of which picture you might have saw. So the one of the probably most famous pancakes that I've made was stuffed pancakes. So I'll do birch benders, the pancake mix. I'll use their paleo or gluten-free mix, and I'll mix it up just like regular. And then I'll pour the batter on the pan, and then I'll add a scoop of nut butter and a scoop of jam. And then I'll cover it with a little bit more batter. And so the heat from the pan melts the inside ingredients. And so when you bite into it, when it's warm, it just starts to ooze out of the pancake and it's so good. And it adds a little bit of extra protein and fat to the meal, so it is a little bit more satiating than just eating straight carbs. So,
Sounds good. I could get on board with that, definitely.
mhm.
The other thing I noted down while I was researching you and
Yeah,
checking you
yeah.
out was I've written down in big capital letters, very, very qualified. There was
Ah,
a whole big host of all your credentials and your scientific background and your qualifications in so many different areas. Um, it's not just an interest in food. It was like, yes, she's completely backed up with science and
mhm.
education, and she absolutely knows what she's talking about.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, so I just like wanted to say, wow, like I just saw this massive list of everything that you have trained in and you're knowledgeable about. And I would imagine then that you take all of that training and knowledge and put it into your experience when you're working with people and your
Mhm.
coaching. So I don't know if you can tell me a bit more about how you bring everything together to be able to help
Mhm.
someone who is looking to make some changes in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say it is both a science and an art. So like I had mentioned earlier, I have had this insatiable curiosity since I was a kid to really uncover what does it mean to be not just a healthy human, but a good human being and live a fulfilled life. And on the physical health side, I lean on my background in medicine, so the Western medicine, and then also functional and regenerative medicine. Functional being root cause, regenerative being basically taking the body's own ability to heal and amplifying it. So I combine that on the physical level with the mindset piece, which is with the NLP. So understanding to have a healthy life, we might have limited beliefs, or there might be some traumas or negative emotions that we're still holding on to that we haven't been able to release that are contributing to our physical health. So that's a really big piece that I've been taking more into account lately and continuing to develop my skill set with that through NLP, as well as mental emotional release. So understanding what emotions are in our body and how can we tap into those to really feel to heal. And then also there's a specific technique in NLP that is called mental emotional release, where you basically go back to the first time, the first instance of an event in which a belief was created, and you release any negative emotions around it. So you basically take off the emotional charge, and then the belief that was connected with that also is released. And then on the energetic perspective, understanding that we are energetic beings, we have infinite amount of energy within us, and then also the infinite amount of energy to tap into when we are in the most optimal health state. And then that is very healing for ourselves. So I basically look at all the different layers of healing. And when somebody comes to me with, you know, struggling with something, whether it's their physical health, their career, their relationships, their family, their personal development, purpose, spirituality, I can assess the person through detailed questions of where are they at and what do they need most. And oftentimes I find that people who are struggling in the physical realm, they need some physical work. They need to eat healthy and exercise and detoxify their system from many toxins. And then if after you've done all that and they're still struggling, it's likely either an emotional or mental energetic problem. So then you can kind of go down the list or go up, I guess, the levels of the body, the different bodies, to release and clarify. And I find that if you do all the release work, like releasing physical toxins, releasing negative emotions, releasing the mind, the limited beliefs, and all of that, and clearing your energy pathways, you're allowing the body to then heal itself. So you're getting rid of all the things that are in the way. And I find that that's more of an effective approach than trying to suppress symptoms or trying to suppress emotions or looking at it from an outside standpoint.
Mhm.
We have such an incredible capacity to heal and to live a beautifully vibrant life, so long as we just get out of our own way. And unfortunately, in this world, we're bombarded with physical toxins in the environment through the food that we eat and the chemicals and pesticides that are used, the air quality, the fumes, for traveling and things like that. And we're just constantly, like, our beings are compromised with that. And if you're sensitive to those things, or if your nervous system's in that stressed out state all the time, you're not going to be able to heal as well as if you are more in that rested state. So it's kind of a multi-layered, multi-dimensional approach. And through all the different trainings that I've done and the different tools I've been able to pick up, the better equipped I am to then be able to see, okay, this person that's come to me, what do they need? Do they need a physical reset? Do they need to, calm the nervous system? That's pretty much always step one, is to help your body get into a state of relaxation, because healing happens when we're in that more relaxed, calm state and knowing that we're safe to then heal.
Mhm.
So kind of a long-winded answer, and I'm
Mhm.
also still figuring it out because,
Mhm.
as we continue to learn and grow, and as I continue to work with people, I just gain so much more knowledge and experience to guide me too. And as a practitioner, as a facilitator of helping people heal, I'm not doing the healing. And I always remind people of that, is I'm not here to heal you. I'm not here to fix you. First off, there's nothing that is wrong with you. Your body is the barometer to tell you what's going on and what is out of balance. And so I'm here to walk this path with you. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help facilitate that and be that vessel so you can heal yourself and come back into balance with who you are at the core and tap into your life force energy. And I grew up Christian, Catholic, and I have a very deep spiritual background too, and connection, more so spiritual than religious, but I'm always asking and praying to God and saying, please bring the right people into my field that I can help and help me to be that vessel to do your work. And that's my deepest purpose. I feel like being here is to help be that light, be that guide, and also leading through example.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way of answering it and explaining it.
Thank you.
And yeah, hitting all those layers and all the different areas of somebody, physical, mental, everything. You've got to look at everything, and having that
Right.
holistic approach absolutely
Yeah.
makes complete sense. Um, if we zone in on like what your coaching kind of looks like now,
Hmm.
what
Yeah.
um what can you tell us about the the one-to-one coaching or the group coaching that you do and
Yeah.
that work? Give us maybe some examples of how that might look, or
Yeah.
the kinds of coaching work that you do kind of currently.
Yes. So after getting trained to be an NLP master practitioner, I've realized how important starting with the mind is. So I work on the mindset first. So
Mm.
for somebody, if they wanted to coach with me, then I would take them through what's called a breakthrough session. And for those who are not familiar with that, it is a pretty extensive initial process. So they'd come to me and say, "Hey, I want to work on this area of my life." Let's just say it's, their career. We'll just go with that for an example. They say, "Hey, I'm struggling with my career. I can notice myself self-sabotaging, or I'm feeling unmotivated to do this thing, or I'm putting this thing off. I'm procrastinating what I need to do," for an example. Then I'd say, "Okay," we would set up a pre-call. So once they decide they want to work with me, we'd set up a pre-call where I'd go a little bit deeper into the problem itself and what's been coming up for them. Then I would have them do some homework, some tasking before we do the breakthrough session, which I created a video module that educates and teaches people about NLP, about mental emotional release and the emotions, the unconscious mind, which is where all those programs live. And so basically, we've been programmed, and now we're going to deprogram to come back to the what is it called when you have a device and it goes back to factory settings?
Factory reset.
So that's basically
Yeah.
we're helping I'm helping somebody come back to their factory settings or their true self by releasing the things that have been getting in the way through programming. And then, so once they watch those modules, they'll have a kind of some education. I'm really education focused because I think it's really important for people to know what it is they're doing and why it helps them. Then the breakthrough session is two 3 or 4 hour long sessions. And so we're doing it virtually or in person if they're in town, but mostly virtually. So I'm going deep dive into their personal history around the problem area of their life. Then I'm eliciting values. So what do they actually value about that area of life? And then we're doing the release work. So that could be the mental emotional release. That could be doing a parts integration, for example. So if they feel a part of me wants this, a part of me wants that, we might integrate those to come back into wholeness. And a couple other NLP techniques with some meditations and energy work. And then after they do the release work, then we re-elicit the values to see how it's shifted now that we've cleared out the programming, I guess, around that area of life. And then we might do some forgiveness work. If there's anyone that we need to set boundaries with, I'll guide them through that. And then the next step after we do the release work and do the breakthrough session, we'll have follow-up calls to do goal setting and understand once we clear out the things that were in the way, you want to know where you're going. So there's four requisites to change. The first is to do the release work. So gotta clear the state. Secondly, you want to set your goals. You want to know where you're actually going after you've cleaned the slate. Otherwise,
Mm.
if you don't set a goal, you're just floundering like, I guess I'll go here today. I guess I'll do this. There's no direction. So you got to know where you're going, number two. Number three is to start taking that aligned action. So once you know where you're going, you got to take action to actually get there. And then the fourth stage or fourth step is to maintain a positive mentality. So through the breakthrough session, that's always what I do first to release anything in the way that could be preventing them from achieving their goal on a subconscious mind level. So the first two requisites of change, the release work and the goal setting, we do together in that breakthrough session. Now, for the coaching, I either do a 3 or 6 month container where we're having a call once a week for 3 or 6 months, depending on how much support they want or how strong or big the problem is in their life or the resistance. And then through that coaching, I then guide them through to keep them on track with the actions and maintaining that positive mindset. And sometimes other stuff comes up that we need to release and clear, and we can take care of that through the coaching calls. And then through that as well, I'll give them guidance on if it's about their physical health, I'll give them guidance on, nutrition, nervous system regulation, exercise. If it's about detoxification, if I feel like that's what they need, I'll guide them through opening their drainage pathways, so bowels, liver, gallbladder, lymphatics, cells, mitochondria. I I know this is a lot that I'm very detail oriented, but I just to give you a really clear picture of what that journey looks like. And as far as testimonials and client case studies, the most common thing that I've experienced with clients going through a breakthrough, just the first part, is before they do the release work, it's, they have the limited beliefs and the baggage that's like they're in the baggage. They're seeing that, they're living life looking through the baggage. So
Mhm.
it's clouded their vision. Once we release it, I go back and read to them the things that they had shared, and they're like, "How did I say that about myself?" Or like, "Did I say that?" Or "No, I don't believe that." And it's so drastic in such a short period of time. I like have to hold myself back from laughing because I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so fun to see the quick shift in somebody's reality because we're working at the subconscious level. We're literally taking, if they're wearing glasses that are foggy, we're cleaning off the lens so they see things clearly.
Mhm.
And then their actions follow. And
Mhm.
so we know that our beliefs and our thoughts dictate our behavior and our actions. So then that then affects our outcomes and if we're going to achieve our goal or not.
Mhm.
So knowing that, I always start with the mindset because that's such an important piece. Because then when we work on the action steps of me guiding them through what they need to work on that area of their life, they don't have, I'm not working with somebody who's seeing it through this clouded lens.
Mhm.
And so the work that we do together is so much more fruitful and efficient
Mhm.
because we're starting from a clean slate.
I was just going to say it sounds very thorough, and it also sounds very like it's a big transformation. Like you're doing
Hmm.
deep, impactful work that you can
Yes.
actually look at the before and the after.
Hmm.
A client can't recognize themselves. That's a huge transformation.
Hmm.
How does it feel like being a little part of someone's big life transformation like that?
Yeah. In the simplest terms, I feel like I'm living in my purpose. It's so fulfilling to me that I have these tools that I've learned and have the privilege to share with people in these life transforming ways. And when I was a kid, we all struggle with different things. Knowing what I know now, I wish I would have had this type of support. I wish I would have had these strategies earlier because I know it would have saved me so much suffering. But at the same time, sometimes we have to go through the hard times. We have to go through the suffering to learn the lesson. And I believe that our souls come here in this life to learn and grow and evolve. And there's ups and downs to that. And for me to be able to be a part of somebody's healing journey and coming back to their true self, like I don't see another path that
Mhm.
I would want to take to help, to contribute with my gifts to this world. And I know that I'm privileged to have had the education that I did, and I don't want to just hold it inside for my own selfish purpose. Like
Mhm.
it's come across my path for a reason. And I feel like it's my duty, it's my responsibility to share that with the world. And so I'm grateful. I'm blessed to be able to do that and to feel so fulfilled doing
Oh, it sounds so
it.
lovely.
And I always learn too.
Oh,
I always, it's like I might be helping my client, but they help me too in my own way. Like I'm learning as much as they are in the process. So,
mm. And I have lots of I have lots of conversations on this podcast or like within the coaching community that we're part of.
mhm,
And I say that I learn just from having these conversations with so many different coaches. I'm picking
mhm.
up things and learning things
Yeah.
just from like a little half-hour conversation. I couldn't imagine
Mhm,
if I was to do a whole session with you or a whole, program with you,
mhm.
the kinds of takeaways that I'd be able to apply to my life. It's like
Yeah.
it's huge. It really is a transformation. I get the sense that
Yeah.
really, really passionate about making people's lives better. I really get that.
Oh
I
yeah.
really get that sense, and
Thank you.
that's
That
really
is my goal.
lovely. That's really, really lovely because there's plenty of people in the world that don't have such a selfless purpose, and that's just really lovely
Mhm.
to hear.
Thank you. And I think that the main driver for why I want to help other people with this is because I've experienced the magic myself. Like I've been able to witness what it feels like to feel healthy and to feel connected to who I am and to love myself at a deep level and to love the life that I get to live. And it's like this, I can feel it's like my little inner child, Katie, that's like, "Oh, I just want to make the world a better place and remind people that they're a bright, shining light too, and that the world can be beautiful. And it's just all about how you look at it. And
Mhm.
there's already too much negativity out there. There's already too much stress and worry and fear. Why not add more joy and fun and playfulness and peace and possibility?
Mhm.
Because we need that. We
Mhm.
need that
Absolutely.
pillar of light to
Yeah.
know that we're not alone in
Mhm.
this. And we all deserve to have that. Just by being here, just by being born, you deserve to have the best life possible for you.
Oh, Katie. If anyone is listening or watching and wants to find out more about you and your resources and your program and all of the work that you do, what is the best way for them to get that support from you?
Yeah, I would say my Instagram, you can DM me through there if you want to connect. I also have a website, so we'll link that below, both of those. And I would say those are the easiest and most convenient ways to connect for right now.
Wonderful. And what have you got on the horizon for your own business and your own personal
Yeah.
goals? What are you planning for what's coming up in your life, really?
Yeah. So I would say that as fun as it's been doing a lot of this work on my own and being a solopreneur, I'm really looking forward to the aligned partnerships that I have in the works for
Mhm.
the next, next chapter of my life and my season of coaching and being that light and guide for others. I have some partnerships that I'm working on. I'm doing coaching for a company that does longevity coaching for people who want more of that high touch connection. So doing group coaching for them, more of that educational style with coaching, and then doing some one-on-one calls for them. And we have some speaking engagements and events connected or coming up in the future with that. And then I'm going to be building out the regenerative and functional wellness side of a clinic where I'll get to have a brick and mortar as well to be able to offer these services and do testing as well using my medical background
Mhm.
to understand and uncover what's going on inside and then to kind of give more direction for the treatment plan for the person.
Mhm.
And more retreats. I'm going to host some more retreats coming up in next year. And yeah, also getting invited for speaking engagements so I can just continue to share my story and the work that I'm doing to help other people. So those are the main things. And season 2 of Katie in the Kitchen, of course.
It all sounds very exciting. You're going to be very,
Yeah.
very busy next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
never ending.
yeah, and if MLC can be a part of that at all or be any support, we love doing partnerships between our coaches. So we would love to be a part of something that you've got planning next year. So we can maybe chat a bit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very exciting. What about your personal life, Katie? What other outside of coaching and business
Hmm.
um, interest you and excite you, and are you looking
Yeah.
forward to?
Hmm. I've, in this season of my life, I've been blessed to have time with my family more than I have in the past. And I'm really appreciating and soaking it all up right now because I know as I continue to get busier,
Mm,
that I might not have as much time. And, as parents get older and age, I realize how important it is to maintain that connection and relationship with them. And yeah, so I'm grateful to have the time. It's actually my dad's birthday today, so we're gonna celebrate tonight for him. And then other things, I enjoy being outside in nature. I love connecting to the lands and getting my feet dirty in the ground and playing outside. Musically, I sing. So I actually was doing TikTok live singing for quite a while. Basically, all throughout 2025, I would go live singing on TikTok just for fun. And I have so many beautiful stories of unexpected ways that I've helped people through my voice in singing. And I've been a singer since I was a kid, hence the Hannah Montana interest. And so that was a fun, thing I would do on the side.
mhm.
And yeah, so I would say personally,
Oh,
those are
sounds
the
very
things.
exciting and
Yeah.
lots
Getting
of
ready for Christmas.
yeah, lots of really great things coming up next year for business.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm wishing you lots and lots of luck with all of those new things.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, if we can help in any way or be a support or be there to cheerlead, we would absolutely love to do that.
Great.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and telling us all about how you've got to where you've got to and the impact that you're making. It's so lovely to hear that there is so much good going on in the world when you hear so much negativity. And it's lovely
Yeah.
to really find out more about you and your work. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your story with us, Katie.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me on this platform to spread my message.
Thank you.